The girl's voice was barely a whisper, but it cut through the desert wind like a knife. "My father shares me with his friends." Cole Brennan froze mid-step, his hand still on the water pump outside the general store in Dust Creek. The girl, couldn't have been more than 15, stood in the shadow of the alley, her dress torn, eyes hollow like she'd already died inside. He should have kept walking. Smart men didn't get involved in other people's darkness. But Cole had never been smart that way. "Say that again," he said, his voice low. She didn't repeat it. She just stared at him with those dead eyes, then turned and disappeared into the alley. If you're already hooked, hit that like button and subscribe, because this story gets darker before it gets better. Cole Brennan wasn't a hero. He was a rancher who'd lost everything: his wife to fever, his son to a Comanche raid, his land to drought. He'd been drifting for 2 years, taking odd jobs, avoiding trouble, but trouble had a way of finding him. He'd come to Dust Creek looking for work, nothing more. The town was like 100 others scattered across Texas, dusty, forgotten, clinging to life in the middle of nowhere, the kind of place where secrets festered in the heat. He followed the girl. The alley led to a ramshackle boarding house on the edge of town. She slipped inside through a broken window. Cole circled around, peering through gaps in the wood. Inside, he saw her father, a fat man named Harlan Good, the town's so-called respectable merchant, and with him, 3 other men: the sheriff, the banker, the preacher. They were laughing, drinking, waiting. Cole's blood turned to ice. He'd heard rumors about Good. Whispers that died quickly because the men who could have stopped it were the ones participating. The girl, her name was Sarah, had been trapped in this hell for 2 years, since her mother ran off or died. No one knew which. No one cared enough to ask. Until now. Cole watched through the gap as Harlan grabbed Sarah's arm, pulling her toward the back room. She didn't resist. She'd learned not to. The other men followed, their laughter echoing. Cole's hands shook, not from fear, from rage. He spent the next 2 days watching, learning their patterns. The sheriff came every Tuesday and Friday, the banker on Wednesdays, the preacher on Sundays after service, which made Cole's stomach turn. Harlan was there every night. Cole also learned that Sarah had a younger brother, a boy named Thomas, maybe 8 years old. Harlan kept him locked in the cellar during the visits. The boy knew what was happening to his sister. Everyone knew. The whole damn town knew. And they did nothing. On the 3rd night, Cole made his move, but not the way anyone expected. He walked into the saloon where Harlan and his friends gathered before their visits. He sat down at their table uninvited. "The hell you want, drifter?" Harlan growled. "I want in," Cole said. The table went silent. The sheriff, Tully, narrowed his eyes. "In on what?" "Don't play stupid," Cole said. "The girl, I've got money, I want a turn." Harlan studied him, suspicious. Then he smiled, showing yellow teeth. $50. "Done," the banker laughed. "Fresh blood. I like it." Cole's jaw tightened, but he kept his face neutral. "When?" "Tonight," Harlan said. "After midnight. Come to the boarding house, back door." Cole showed up at midnight, but he didn't come alone. He'd spent the afternoon rigging the boarding house. Kerosene-soaked rags stuffed in the crawl spaces. A trail of gunpowder leading from the back door to the main support beam. He'd learned demolition during the war. Some skills you never forgot. When he knocked on the back door, Harlan answered, whiskey on his breath. "You got the money?" Cole handed him a pouch. Harlan opened it, counted. $50 in gold coins. "Come on in," Harlan said, grinning. Inside, the other 3 men were already there. Sarah sat in the corner, arms wrapped around herself, staring at nothing. When she saw Cole, confusion flickered in her eyes. "New friend of ours," Harlan announced. "Wants to join the party." The preacher raised his glass. "The more the merrier." Cole looked at Sarah. "Where's your brother?" Harlan frowned. "What's it to you?" "Just curious. Cellar, where he always is." Harlan stepped closer. "Why you asking questions, Drifter?" Cole smiled. "No reason." Then he pulled his gun and shot Harlan in the knee. Harlan went down screaming. The sheriff reached for his weapon. Cole shot him in the chest. The banker bolted for the door. Cole shot him in the back. The preacher dropped to his knees, hands raised. "Please, God have mercy." "God's not here," Cole said. "Just me." He shot the preacher in the head. Sarah stared at the bodies, trembling. "What did you do?" "What should have been done years ago." Cole grabbed her arm. "Where's the cellar?" She led him to a trap door in the kitchen. Cole pulled it open. Below, in the darkness, a small boy huddled in the corner. "Thomas," Sarah called down. "It's okay. Come up." The boy climbed out, blinking in the lamplight. When he saw the bodies, he didn't scream. He just looked at Cole. "Are they dead?" Thomas asked. "Yeah," Cole said. "Good." Pause for a second. What would you do in Cole's position? Would you risk everything for a stranger? Drop your answer in the comments. Now, back to the story. Cole grabbed the lamp and smashed it against the wall. Flames spread fast, racing along the kerosene trails he'd laid. "We need to go, now." They ran out the back door as the fire consumed the boarding house. By the time the town woke up, the building was an inferno. The bodies inside would be unrecognizable. Cole had 3 horses waiting at the edge of town, stolen from the livery, but he'd left payment. He wasn't a thief. They rode hard through the night, putting miles between them and Dust Creek. Sarah held Thomas in front of her. The boy's small arms wrapped around the saddle horn. As dawn broke, they stopped to rest near a creek. Thomas fell asleep immediately. Sarah sat beside Cole, staring at the water. "They'll come after us," she said. "I know." "Harlan has a brother, Ezra. He owns half the county. He'll send men." "How many?" "As many as it takes." Cole nodded. "Then we keep moving." Sarah looked at him. "Why are you doing this?" Cole was silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice rough. "I had a son, about Thomas's age. We were traveling through Comanche territory. I told him to stay close, but he wandered off. Just for a minute." He paused, the memory cutting deep. "By the time I found him, it was too late." "I was too late." He looked at Sarah. "I can't save my son, but I can save you." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet," Cole said. "We've got a long road ahead." They traveled for days, staying off main trails, avoiding towns. Cole taught Sarah and Thomas how to cover their tracks, how to read the land, how to survive. Sarah was a quick learner. Thomas was quieter, but he watched everything Cole did, absorbing it. On the 5th day, they reached a small settlement called Red Rock. Cole needed supplies. He left Sarah and Thomas hidden in the woods and went in alone. The general store was run by an old woman named Martha. She eyed Cole suspiciously as he gathered flour, beans, ammunition. "You running from something, mister?" she asked. "Just passing through." "Uh-huh." She leaned closer. Words out. "Ezra Good's offering $1,000 for information on a man traveling with 2 kids, a girl and a boy." Cole's hand moved to his gun. "That's so." Martha held up her hands. "Easy. I'm not turning you in, but others will. $1,000 is a lot of money out here." "Why tell me?" "Because I knew Harlan Good, and I know what he was." She pushed the supplies across the counter. "No charge. Get those kids somewhere safe." Cole nodded. "Obliged." As he turned to leave, Martha called out. "There's a place, up north, past the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, a valley where folks don't ask questions. You might find peace there." "Got a name?" "Hope's End." Cole almost laughed. Fitting. They pushed north, into the mountains. The terrain was brutal. Steep climbs, narrow passes, freezing nights. Thomas developed a cough. Sarah's hands bled from gripping the reins, but they kept moving. On the 10th day, they spotted riders behind them. "How many?" Sarah asked. Cole counted. 8, maybe 9. "Ezra's men?" "Has to be." They spurred their horses faster, but the posse was gaining. Cole knew they couldn't outrun them. not with Thomas sick and the horses exhausted. He made a decision. "There's a canyon up ahead," he said. "You and Thomas hide there. I'll lead them away." "No," Sarah said. "We stay together." "Sarah, I said no." Her voice was steel. "You don't get to save us just to die. We fight together or we die together." Cole looked at her, saw the determination in her eyes. She wasn't the broken girl from Dust Creek anymore. "All right," he said. "Together." They reached the canyon and took positions behind the rocks. Cole had his rifle and his Colt. Sarah had a pistol he'd taught her to shoot. Thomas stayed low, clutching a knife. The posse rode into the canyon, confident. Too confident. Cole fired first, dropping the lead rider. The others scattered, taking cover. Gunfire erupted, bullets ricocheting off stone. "Stay down!" Cole shouted. He picked off another rider, then another. But there were too many. They were flanking, moving up the sides of the canyon. Sarah fired, hitting one in the shoulder. He fell, screaming. "Good shot!" Cole reloaded. Then he heard it. A sound that made his blood run cold. Hoofbeats. From behind. They'd been surrounded. A man emerged from the rocks above them, tall, broad-shouldered, with a scar running down his face. Ezra Good. "End of the line, Brennan," Ezra called down. "Send out the girl and the boy, and I'll make it quick." "Go to hell," Cole shouted back. Ezra laughed. "You killed my brother, burned him alive. You think I'm letting you walk away? Your brother was a monster." "Maybe," Ezra's voice echoed. "But he was my monster." Cole looked at Sarah, at Thomas. They were trapped, outnumbered, outgunned. Then Thomas spoke. "There's another way." Cole turned. "What?" "A cave, behind us. Mama showed us once. It goes through the mountain." Sarah's eyes widened. "I forgot about that." "Can we reach it?" Cole asked. "If we're fast." "Real quick. Do you think they all make it out alive? Comment yes or no before you keep reading." "On my signal," Cole said. "Run." He stood up, firing rapidly, drawing all attention to himself. Sarah grabbed Thomas and bolted for the cave entrance, hidden behind a boulder. Bullets tore through the air. One grazed Cole's shoulder. Another shattered the rock beside his head. But he kept firing, kept moving, giving Sarah and Thomas time. "Now!" Sarah screamed. Cole turned and ran. Bullets chased him. He dove through the cave entrance just as the rock behind him exploded. Inside, darkness swallowed them. They stumbled forward, hands on the walls, the sound of the posse echoing behind. "They're in the cave, after them!" The passage twisted downward, narrowing. Cole could hear the men struggling to fit through. He stopped at a choke point, turned, and waited. The first man through got a bullet in the chest. The second hesitated. Cole shot him too. The bodies blocked the passage. "Fall back!" someone yelled. But Ezra's voice roared over them. "Smoke them out! Build a fire at the entrance!" Cole's stomach dropped. They'd suffocate. "Come on," Thomas urged, pulling him deeper. The cave opened into an underground river, black and fast-moving. Thomas didn't hesitate. He jumped in. Sarah followed. Cole dove after them. The icy water shocked his lungs. The current pulled them under, spinning them through the darkness. Cole's head broke the surface. He gasped for air. "Sarah, Thomas, here!" Sarah's voice, somewhere ahead. They swam through the blackness, guided only by the current, until they saw light. A faint glow. They kicked toward it, lungs burning. They surfaced in a hidden grotto, open to the sky. Sunlight streamed through the opening above. They climbed out, gasping, shivering, alive. Behind them, smoke billowed from the cave entrance far below. The posse would think they were dead. "We made it," Sarah breathed. Cole nodded, too exhausted to speak. Thomas coughed, his small body shaking. Cole felt his forehead, burning hot. "We need to find shelter," Cole said. "He's getting worse." They traveled for 2 more days, Thomas growing weaker. On the 3rd day, they reached Hope's End. It was exactly what Martha had described, a hidden valley, green and lush, surrounded by mountains. A small community of maybe 30 people, farmers, ranchers, people who'd come here to escape their pasts. A woman named Elena took them in. She was a healer, skilled with herbs and medicine. She tended to Thomas while Sarah and Cole rested. "He'll live," Elena said after 2 days. "But he needs time to recover." Cole felt the weight lift from his chest. "Thank you." Elena studied him. "You're running from something." "Yeah, we all are," she smiled. "That's why we're here. No one asks questions in Hope's End. No one judges. You're safe here." For the first time in weeks, Cole allowed himself to believe it. They stayed in Hope's End. Cole built a cabin on the edge of the valley. Sarah helped, learning carpentry, growing stronger every day. Thomas recovered slowly, his cough fading, his smile returning. Months passed, then a year. They became part of the community. Cole taught the men how to defend the valley. Sarah learned healing from Elena. Thomas went to the small schoolhouse. They didn't talk about Dust Creek. They didn't talk about Harlan or Ezra or the men they'd killed. The past was buried, but the past has a way of digging itself up. 2 years after they arrived, a stranger rode into Hope's End. Cole was working in the field when he saw him. Tall, older, moving stiff like old injuries still bothered him. But Cole recognized him immediately. Ezra Good. Cole's hand moved to his gun, but Ezra raised his hands, showing he was unarmed. "I'm not here to fight," Ezra called out. "Then why are you here?" Cole's voice was cold. Ezra dismounted slowly. "To see if the rumors were true, that you were alive, that you'd made a life here. And now you've seen it. Leave." "I will." Ezra looked around the valley. "But first, I need to say something." Cole waited, gun still drawn. Ezra took a breath. "I spent 2 years hunting you, spent a fortune, lost good men, all because I wanted revenge for my brother." He paused. "But the more I learned about what Harlan did, the more I realized you did the world a favor." Cole said nothing. "I didn't know," Ezra continued. "About the girl, about what he was doing. I swear I didn't know. If I had," he trailed off, "I would have killed him myself." "You expect me to believe that?" "No." Ezra shook his head. "I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know. The hunt's over. I'm done. You and those kids, you're free." He turned to leave, then stopped. "For what it's worth, Brennan, you're a better man than I ever was." Ezra mounted his horse and rode away, disappearing into the mountains. Cole stood there for a long time, watching him go. That evening, Sarah found Cole sitting on the porch of the cabin, staring at the sunset. "Thomas told me Ezra was here," she said. "Yeah." "What did he want?" "To let us know it's over." Sarah sat beside him. "Do you believe him?" "I don't know." Cole looked at her. "But I think maybe we can stop running now." Sarah smiled. It was the first real smile he'd seen from her. "I'd like that." 5 more years passed. Thomas grew into a strong young man, working the land alongside Cole. Sarah married a blacksmith from the valley, a good man who treated her with kindness. They had a daughter, named her Hope. Cole grew older, his hair turning gray, his hands weathering. But he was content. He'd found something he thought he'd lost forever: peace. One evening, as he sat on his porch watching the sun set over the valley, Sarah came to visit with little Hope. She wanted to see her grandpa, Sarah said, smiling. Cole's throat tightened. "Grandpa, if that's all right with you." Cole looked at the little girl, her bright eyes full of innocence and joy. Everything Sarah's eyes had lacked when he first met her. "Yeah," he said, his voice rough. "That's all right with me." Hope climbed into his lap, and Cole held her, feeling the weight of everything he'd done, everyone he'd killed, every choice he'd made. And for the first time in his life, he felt like maybe, just maybe, he'd done something right. Years later, when Cole Brennan died peacefully in his sleep at the age of 73, the entire valley came to his funeral. Sarah spoke, her voice strong and clear. "This man saved my life," she said. "Not just from my father, not just from those men. He saved me from believing that the world was only darkness. He showed me that there are still people willing to fight for what's right, willing to sacrifice everything for strangers. He was a father to me when I needed one most." and I will carry his memory until the day I die." They buried him on the hill overlooking the valley, beneath an oak tree he'd planted years ago. His grave marker was simple: Cole Brennan. He stood when others turned away, and in Hope's End, his story was told for generations, a reminder that even in the darkest corners of the world, there are still those who choose to be the light. So, what did you think? Was Cole a hero or a vigilante? And would you have had the courage to do what he did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more intense Wild West tales that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. There are more stories like this coming, tales of justice, revenge, and redemption in the untamed frontier, and you won't want to miss a single one. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.